Hello fellow mutants, welcome back to another video, and in this video, we're going to talk about A New Hope, being the very first Star Wars movie to exist. And I have waited until today to start reviewing the original trilogy, because this is the day when both A New Hope and Return of the Jedi came out. Fun fact, some of you may not know, so now you guys know! Anyways, so in this movie, we essentially kind of get a sense at first that R2-D2 is on an important mission, because we saw Princess Leia inserting something in R2-D2 being this astromech, and R2-D2. Keep in mind that we start out with a space battle with the Empire taking over. I think it's called the Tentative 4, being Princess Leia's ship. And, so, Princess Leia gives R2 something, which then R2-D2 and C-3PO escapes in these escape pods. Essentially, Leia gets captured, and, Darth Vader asks, Leia, where did you do the plan? So of course that means essentially Leia gave the plans to R2, and Leia asked Coy, and so then we get a hint that we're going to get Leia interrogated. So the droids are on Tatooine. They get split up only to get captured by Jawas to get and then get reunited because of the Jawas. They go to the Lore's homestead, and here we see the Lore's homestead, and Owen Lores, Beru Lores are racing Luke Skywalker, which is Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala's son. Essentially, the Lores by C-3PO and R2-D2, and Owen tells Luke, go clean this droid, go clean these droids. And Luke says, but I was hoping to hang out with some of my friends. And then Owen says, you can't waste time with your friends after you get these droids cleaned. And then Luke, being bummed out, say, okay. And as Luke kind of gets introduced to the droids and cleans the droids up, Luke stumbles onto this message from Princess Leia that says, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And Luke is just so memorized, or is that even the right term, memorized? Just taken aback, I should say, of how beautiful Leia is. Not knowing that that's his sister, but he tries to play the whole recording, but R2 insists that Luke takes off his restraining bow, which will help with the message, which Luke does. R2 shuts off the message again. No, bitch, no. Which then Luke gets called to dinner. He mentions that he thinks that R2 and 3PO are stolen, and now he brings up the name Obi-Wan, and Owen says that Obi-Wan, he died around the time your father died, and that Ben, because there's a reference to Ben, because Luke thinks that Obi-Wan Kenobi is related to Ben, and we can tell that Owen dislikes Ben, this Ben Crete person, whoever Ben is, which we all know is Obi-Wan Kenobi, but And so essentially, Luke wants to apply to go to the academy. Owen says, we need to for one more rotation. You gotta understand. Luke kind of storms off to clean the droids, sees that R2's missing. So the next day, 3PO and R2 finds C-3PO and Luke goes find R2, was successful. And then essentially leads to a Tusken Raider knocking Luke out, brings in this old guy making this weird noise, and this old guy happens to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, which later, shortly after, like 5 seconds after, it's revealed to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi tells Luke his version of how Anakin died. But of course, if you've seen like Revenge of the Sith, you know that Obi-Wan is full of shit in a way, because he said, "Yeah, Vader betrayed and murdered your father." We know that's full of shit. We know that's full of shit. We all know that Luke's father is Darth Vader. But of course, Obi-Wan doesn't want Luke to know that. Now, obviously, Uncle Owen doesn't want Luke to know that. So Luke is left in the dark for this entire movie on who his father is. And Luke is trying to honor the memory of his father, not knowing his father is one of the most evil assholes in general in the galaxy. And so Luke, Obi-Wan tries to get Luke to help him in his task to to essentially rescue Leia and bring her to Alderaan. But Luke essentially storms off because he comes to the realization that if the Empire could track the droids to the Jawas, that they could track the droids to Laura's homestead. Rushes over to Laura's homestead, sees Uncle Owen and Beru burnt to a crisp, and goes back to Ben, and that's where Luke's story begins. Leia, while this is happening, is getting interrogated, sees her planet getting blown up, her childhood home planet getting blown up, essentially witnessing her parents and everyone she loved from that was on Alderaan die. Because, the Death Star was being a dick. Saying, because they wanted to know where the plans are hidden, or the secret rebel base were at, and Leia says Dantooine, they're on Dantooine, and then Tarkin says, "Yeah, good, now blow it up." I know I just said to her, we're not gonna blow it up, but I don't give a damn, blow this shit up. We gotta make an example. Even though we made an example 5 seconds ago in the Disney canon with Jeddah City and Scarif, but we still didn't make an example. Because we're not gonna hide that this is a mining accident like the whole Jeddah City was. So essentially Obi-Wan and Luke with the droids go to the cantina, to Mos Eisley's cantina in Tatooine, where they meet Han Solo and Chewbacca. They go to the Millennium Falcon. They escape the period, to shoot out with stormtroopers. Go to where the Alderaan was supposed to be at. And somehow our heroes make it all their way to the Death Star, where essentially they manage to rescue, infiltrate the Death Star by dressing up as stormtroopers, rescuing Leia. Obi-Wan fights Darth Vader, who he hasn't seen in 10 years in the Disney canon, 20-ish years in Legends canon. Obi-Wan lets Vader kill him. Luke nearly causing our heroes to die, until Ben says in the Force, "Run, Luke, run!" And which then we see Luke's sad about Obi-Wan dying. The Millennium Falcon blasts off that Death Star. We get into this little TIE Fighter versus Millennium Falcon fight. The Millennium Falcon wins. The Falcon goes to Yavin 4. And essentially we get, okay, this is how we're going to try to fight the Empire, fight the Death Star, because we had the Death Star plans. Thankfully, with Leia putting in this astromech that's R2-D2, now is our time to strike and to essentially honor the sacrifice of Rogue One, the crew of Rogue One that we saw in the Rogue One movie. Now is our time to strike. So they do. And for years, they thought that little, like, fans were making fun of that little, like, weakness in the Death Star, thinking that that was just some, like, little Empire being, like, not knowing. And it turns out Galen Erso, one of the Rogue One characters, purposely did that, make that weakness there for the rebellion. And yes, I'm tying this somewhere into the Rogue One, because the Rogue One I actually do enjoy. It's the best Disney Star Wars movie. So, I'm tying, like, yes, I'm mentioning Rogue One a lot. Sorry. I gotta say, though, like, after seeing the whole Vader, hallway scene in Rogue One, though, like, Vader and Obi-Wan fight was somewhat disappointing, because it goes, boom, 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 boom. And it's interesting, like, it's cool. I like the fight, but, like, after that hallway scene in Rogue One, it, like, says, which was a pretty badass scene. It's like, go from that to this little fight that goes, boom, 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 boom. And at this point, they might as well just, like, bring that, like, reimagined Scene 30 or whatever it's called into the mix at this point. Of course, part of me is being sarcastic, part of me is being for real. Kind of torn. But, so, Han leaves, the rebellion goes to the Death Star, Luke essentially is the only one left, trying to make the Death Star run. Han Solo comes in, like, damages Vader's ship. Luke gets mad, like, with the help of Force Ghost Obi-Wan, that Luke doesn't even know is a Force Ghost yet, because he just started his Jedi training in this movie. Says, use the Force, trust your feelings. And Luke blows up the Death Star. Manages to blow up the Death Star. And then we get to hear Ben's voice one last time, or Obi-Wan's voice one last time in the movie, saying, the Force will be with you, always. And then we see Luke going down, getting greeted by, like, the rebellion. R2 is, like, out for the count, but he can be repaired. And then we get the medal, ceremony where Luke gets a medal, Han gets a medal, everyone gets a medal except for Chewbacca, until the Rise of Skywalker, because that's when he finally gets Leia's medal, or someone's medal. And then the movie ends. And I have to say, I do remember the first time I watched this movie, which was in 2008, and I thought this was a pretty good movie. Like, granted that I thought it, like, the kid version of me thought this was somewhat boring, because I just got the hypes of Revenge of the Sith, like the prequels where they were doing all those lightsaber, like, tricks, and coming into this movie, just doom 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 doom. So me as a kid thought this doom doom wasn't as cool. I don't think I have my, as I, like, let my lightsaber press in, as I, like, as doom 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 flip, double flip in the air, doom doom doom. But as I got older, though, I appreciated it more. Even though I just made a comment saying, after seeing, like, Rogue One in that fight, it's like, kind of like, doom 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 doom, might seem to be a bit boring to some, and to some a downgrade after Vader was like that. I need to get a life. But you guys get what I mean. Might seem like a downgrade a little bit, but it's still interesting. Because we might not have all these tricks, right? But we got, like, the intents there. Like, okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to win? And so I think A New Hope is a really good movie. Um, A New Hope was my fourth Star Wars movie I've seen, and it's a good movie. So happy that George Lucas initially decided to make Star Wars because little like I know like Star Wars has impacted generations, and I didn't get like I said that Revenge of the Sith is my very first Star Wars film, and it is. But each Star Wars movie in the Lucas era, I'm referring to the Lucas era mostly, has become a part of me. Well, yeah, it's become part of me because otherwise I wouldn't have like shit ton of lightsabers and shit ton of Star Wars shirts. This being like a like closest thing to like the New Hope poster that I could get in shirt form, which I got for a Christmas present from one of my friends, good friends. But yes, Star Wars has done a lot for me. It has influenced a lot for me, and I really do appreciate Star Wars. And I really do appreciate George Lucas. And I do hope that I get to meet him one day. Give him a handshake at the very least, and just thank him for creating Star Wars. Because the original trilogy and the prequels has been part of my life since 11. And at first I thought Star Wars was dumb. Because my brother like tried to get me to like I played the original Battlefront 2. I thought that game was fun, but like look, he tried to make me watch the Clone Wars, the original Clone Wars, that micro series. And I thought Star Wars was dumb at the time. And then as I got older, when I saw like Revenge of the Sith and then go back watch all 6 films at the time, that was my mind was blown, and I instantly fell in love with Star Wars then. And I guess it was part of my destiny to like watch Star Wars and be a massive Star Wars fan, but like Star Wars is a great saga, especially like I'm like mostly referring to the George Lucas era, and I'm very appreciative of it because like I don't know who I am, who I would be now if I didn't get enthralled into the Star Wars universe. And I really, like I said, I really do appreciate George Lucas. So if you're so happen to watch Lucas, Mr. Lucas, thank you so much for creating Star Wars. Really appreciate you. Mad respect for you. And like if we ever meet, you definitely would get a handshake. If I can, a hug, because you have essentially impacted me a lot. And there have been moments when, as cheesy or dramatic as this might sound, Star Wars has saved my life a few times. Because I did kind of go back to say, okay, what would Luke Skywalker do in this situation? Or Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, or whatever would do in this situation. And I did my best to apply that. So, thank you so much for creating Star Wars. That said, what do you guys think about A New Hope? Let me know. Or Star Wars when it was released in 1977. Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be kind. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. I will talk to you 5 minutes later. Later, taters.